Jabba the President did not celebrate Star Wars today. He's barely focused on the real war he got us into. Trump took another trip to Florida this weekend. He showed up at a PGA Tour event held at his golf resort in Miami. This is what he loves to do.
I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam, and I got the highest mark, and one of the doctors said, "Sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of, that was the highest mark." I hope you're happy with that, although they haven't been bugging me too much to take a cog.
In a mix of late-night comedy and political tension, Jimmy Kimmel often criticizes Donald Trump in a way that feels more like an ongoing public score than simple jokes. Each night, the situation seems to reach its peak, yet Trump finds a way to push things even further. Because of this, the real question is not who began it, but who is quietly shaping the story behind the scenes.
Emanating. OMG, she is emanating. Maybe next year they can have the Met Gala at the White House ballroom, you know? I don't know what it is with Trump in this ballroom, but he's building it. He's been pushing it bigly since that shooter showed up at the Correspondents' Dinner.
But he's a lowlife, whether he apologized or not. He's a lowlife. He always has been. He shouldn't be on television. I don't know how a guy can be on television where the network gets free airwaves from the United States government and spend 100% of his time knocking Republicans and conservatives.
Before continuing, viewers are asked to like the video and subscribe so they don't miss any updates. Jimmy Kimmel's criticism of Donald Trump stands out not just because it happens often, but because of its sharp and energetic style. Each time, the situation seems to grow even more unusual, almost as if real life is trying to become more surprising than the humor itself before the moment fully lands.
At other white people at country clubs he owns. That's what he was born for. The president was joined by real estate magnate / war negotiator Steve Witkoff and his son Eric Trump, who wasn't invited but tunneled his way in like the gopher from Caddyshack. After the tournament, Trump met with the winner, Cameron Young, to congratulate him on his victory and take possession of his trophy. And when he wasn't romping around the golf course, the president was hard at work on social media.
It starts in Hollywood on May 4th, where people dress as Star Wars characters, take paid photos, and enjoy quoting famous lines, treating it like a shared part of pop culture fun.
Originally, he said it would cost $200 million and would be financed by private donors. Then the price tag doubled to $400 million, which he said would still be paid for by private donors. Then yesterday, Republicans in the Senate pushed a bill that would allocate $1 billion of taxpayer money to go toward this project. Oh, you're against it? I'm shocked. I thought you were all for it.
Kimmel highlights the strange humor of it all, showing a galaxy that feels far away yet oddly connected to Los Angeles. Even memories are commercialized there, with everything having a cost, and characters like Yoda appearing redesigned in a modern, polished way.
Just to give you a little peek inside his very strong brain, let's examine one night in Donald Trump's Truth Social feed. Actually, not even one night. Let's look at 1 hour. These are all real posts from our president in the 11 o'clock hour on Friday night. At 11:03, he put up this image of him and members of his cabinet taking a dip in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. I don't know who the woman in the bikini is or how the AI was able to shave 80 pounds off his gut, but everyone...
He jokes about how the old version of Yoda seemed tough, weathered, and like he had been through many battles, almost even acting like he created simple remedies for himself. In contrast, the newer version looks polished, carefully styled, and almost like it has a team managing its appearance. While the audience enjoys this light nostalgia, the tone quickly shifts in a natural way toward real-world politics. Kimmel points out that while people celebrate fictional conflicts, the actual world is treated with a different seriousness. He mentions Trump spending time in Florida, appearing in events that feel unplanned and constant. The humor comes from how ordinary his schedule looks compared to global concerns. This calm setup eventually leads into Kimmel's deeper focus on Trump's behavior online and how it shapes public attention.
So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. I put on a tuxedo. We pretended we had an audience of luminaries. We used old footage of the Trumps, of Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet. And we made it seem like they were all together in a room. We had a little roast. Again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit.
What follows feels less like political commentary and more like a strange online journey, as Kimmel focuses on just 1 hour of Trump's activity on Truth Social. Instead of calm or structured updates, it becomes a mix of random images, bold statements, and scattered thoughts that do not seem to follow any clear order. Some posts include AI-made pictures that enhance Trump's appearance, while others place well-known figures in odd and confusing situations. The tone also changes so quickly that it feels like switching channels on a TV with no control. Kimmel then steps back to show the larger pattern. This is not a one-time burst, but something repeated regularly. Trump posts so often that, if it were anyone else, people might worry. It creates an uneasy feeling that this kind of behavior would usually lead to concern in a family setting rather than public discussion or official briefings.
A minute later, at 11:04, he posted this even more unbelievable picture of Melania smiling. Which is, I don't know the last time we saw that. At 11:13, he posted a thinly veiled but definitely racist note about House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, followed 2 minutes later with a warning to Iran that said, "I have all the cards," and holding a bunch of Uno cards, which is a game you win by having no cards.
Kimmel continues the story instead of stopping there, as Trump's public moments begin mixing with his own self-praise. He often talks about passing cognitive tests with strong confidence, describing them in a way that makes simple tasks sound far more complicated than they really are. Rather than directly attacking these claims, Kimmel highlights the difference between Trump's detailed explanations and the actual straightforward nature of the test. This creates a quiet but clear contrast, where the audience starts to see the humor on their own as the situation unfolds. As the discussion moves forward, Kimmel shifts attention to something bigger. It is not only about what Trump says, but also how he presents himself in public. He often performs, tells dramatic stories, and uses expressions that feel more like acting than serious political messaging. At times, it even seems like he is auditioning for a stage that does not officially exist, which adds another layer to the satire.
Chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, the money would be used for security features only, not for the ballroom itself. And the White House, of course, disagrees with that. After saying he and his teat sucklers would pay for it personally, Team Trump now wants us to foot the bill, which is now 5 times what he said it would be. $1 billion for a ballroom. What can you say? The man loves to dance, you know? This is not a popular project. Only 28% of Americans supported him illegally knocking the White House down in the middle of the night to build this.
Kimmel adds a more visual and theatrical style to the humor, describing situations in an exaggerated way that feels almost like short stage performances. He includes imagined reactions, dramatic tone, and overplayed moments, which makes the scenes feel closer to entertainment than serious politics. Still, underneath the comedy, there is a clear sense of rising tension. The discussion moves toward real policy issues, especially the ongoing strain with Iran, which he presents as something that has gone on longer than expected without proper steps being followed. He brings up the War Powers Resolution in a simple way, treating it like a reminder that rules and limits exist for a reason. Ignoring them only increases pressure in an already sensitive situation. The irony becomes clearer when Trump's reasoning is mentioned, suggesting that past rules do not matter if they are inconvenient. Kimmel points out this logic with a calm, questioning tone, allowing viewers to think about it themselves. Just when the flow seems settled, the focus shifts again. This time it becomes more personal, moving to Rudy Giuliani and the unusual chain of reactions following news about his health.
11:22, he posted his big gold pumpkin head. 11:26, him photoshopped into Mount Rushmore. 11:32, we've got him and Melania with their hair blowing, no explanation. 11:37 with King Charles, no caption or explanation. Then over the next 8 minutes, he made not one but 3 posts about renovating the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. And that's 1 hour on a Friday night, the President of the United States. According to the Daily Beast, based on his social media activity, there were only 5 nights last month when the president could have possibly gotten a full night's sleep.
Kimmel responds to criticism about his jokes on Giuliani, but not in a defensive way. Instead, he uses humor and exaggeration, almost pretending that he is being accused of predicting the future just to make controversial jokes. This overstatement makes the complaints sound even more unrealistic, showing how far the backlash has gone. At the same time, he still shares sincere good wishes, which creates a clear contrast between humor and real concern. He then connects the idea to everyday frustrations that people understand easily, like poor airline service, turning it into something everyone can relate to and laugh about without needing explanation. This shared experience helps bring a sense of relief, as if even confusing moments eventually settle into something familiar. By the end, Kimmel brings everything together, showing that his comedy is not just about jokes, but about how humor, politics, and unpredictability often overlap in today's world.
We found out we'd be paying for it. These are all the times Trump posted that the ballroom would be built using zero taxpayer dollars. But I don't get it. Why does he need a room to hold balls? He's already holding a lot of balls. He's holding J.D. Vance's balls. He's got Lindsey Graham's balls. He's holding the balls of almost every Republican in Congress. Thank you. So Today, Trump signed an executive order to bring back the presidential fitness test. Do you remember that? They would do it at...
The cycle keeps repeating because every time Trump posts, speaks, or appears in public, it creates new material for discussion. Kimmel then takes that material and reshapes it into commentary that is both funny and revealing, which keeps the story from ever fully settling. Instead, it keeps shifting, growing, and building on itself. Over time, Kimmel starts to treat Trump less like a traditional political figure and more like a constant source of online content, almost as if he produces headlines non-stop. The amount of attention he generates is so high that it would overwhelm anyone trying to manage social media. The humor becomes stronger not just because of the volume, but because of the unusual style and unpredictable tone behind each message. Kimmel also focuses on how inconsistent everything feels, as if each post follows its own logic. This creates a strange mix of confidence and confusion. By moving between bold statements and the reactions they cause, he highlights the gap between what is said and how it is understood. He does not rush to explain it fully, since that gap itself is where the humor and tension grow, making viewers think more deeply about what they are seeing.
Average of 18 times a day. If you had a relative who was posting 18 times a day, you'd be worried about him, right? You'd be like, what's going on with cousin Matthew? Is he okay? Now, in fairness, Trump does take nice little naps, mostly during the national security meetings, so he is getting some sleep. And he might even be scouting for a place to live after his reign of terror ends. Trump paid a visit to the Village's retirement community near Orlando on Friday.
The tone gradually moves from pure comedy into something more like observation. Kimmel begins pointing out how Trump's style is not limited to social media but also appears in public events, where he speaks with the same mix of confidence and spontaneity seen online. His speeches, casual comments, and sudden changes in topic all form a repeating pattern that Kimmel looks at with a mix of surprise and humor. He describes a figure who treats every public moment like a stage, where accuracy is less important than impact, and bold statements matter more than facts. This brings the focus back to a larger idea: how perception can differ from reality. Kimmel suggests that many claims depend more on being repeated often than on being verified. By revisiting this cycle of strong statements followed by conflicting ones, he shows how the pattern continues to repeat itself. Over time, that repetition becomes part of the strategy, making the whole situation feel both predictable and unusual at the same time.
A call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow, which obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're taking.
Kimmel broadens his view to talk about how political communication works today. He suggests that attention has become more valuable than consistency, and quick reactions often matter more than careful, steady messages. In this kind of environment, the loudest voice can easily shape the discussion, even when the message keeps changing from one moment to the next. Instead of turning this into a serious lecture, Kimmel keeps things light and easy to follow. The humor helps carry the idea, so it never feels heavy or forced. This approach keeps the audience interested because they are not being told what to think. Instead, they are shown a pattern and allowed to notice the strangeness themselves. He also points out the contrast between the seriousness of global politics and the casual way some statements are made. This gap creates a natural sense of irony without needing to exaggerate it. Kimmel describes the situation like an ongoing story that has gone far past its expected ending, still continuing without a clear conclusion, while the main figure keeps acting as if success has already been achieved.
Accompanied by two of his top TV doctors, Phil and Oz.
We have a man here who knows more about Medicaid, Medicare, medical crap than any human being. Where's Dr. Oz? Where the hell are you, stand up? He's great. It's the most boring trip I've ever made. He's telling me about Medicare, Medicaid.
Like I give a meta about any of those things. Any term of the word care.
The irony is clear to the audience, and Kimmel highlights it just enough to keep things interesting. The discussion then moves beyond Trump himself and looks at the wider circle around him. This includes media hosts, commentators, and online voices who react to, defend, or reshape his actions. Kimmel presents them like a supporting cast, each one adding another layer to the story and sometimes making it even more complicated than before. He also focuses on how criticism is managed and responded to. Even jokes about his own influence are exaggerated, as if he were being treated like someone who can predict real events. Instead of avoiding this idea, Kimmel turns it into humor, letting it fall apart on its own. This self-aware style becomes an important part of the flow, helping him stay ahead of criticism by addressing it before it grows. In the end, the audience is not only reacting to the main subject but also to the reactions around it. This creates multiple layers of humor and reflection, making the whole experience more engaging and thoughtful.
It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house. And also, I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back would be to have a conversation with your husband about it.
As the story moves toward another high point, Kimmel shifts back to a simple, down-to-earth view. He reflects on how ordinary viewers experience a non-stop flow of updates, mixing serious political news with strange and unexpected social media activity. In his view, it starts to feel like unplanned entertainment, where the boundary between journalism and comedy slowly fades. This part of his commentary is calmer, but it still carries meaning. The humor is softer, yet it points to something deeper, a situation where unusual behavior has become normal, even though it keeps repeating in slightly different forms. That ongoing cycle is what keeps public attention locked in. Each new statement, appearance, or online post adds another layer to the overall picture. Kimmel continues to piece it together with a blend of wit and observation, shaping a story that feels both amusing and revealing. In the end, the audience stays engaged, constantly reacting, questioning, and waiting for whatever comes next. Something that feels surprising in the moment but strangely expected as well.